Welcome to my channel and to the verse if you're new. Medical gameplay in Star Citizen can seem intimidating, but it's essential for survival. This is your beginner guide to using every medical tool and drug effectively. This guide aims to provide a quick, concise rundown to prepare you for navigating, managing your health, injuries, and character death around the verse. To start, you have three primary tools for applying medicine. First is MedPens, the second is paramed medical devices, and finally the Lifeguard medical attachment for your multi-tool. But before we dive in, let's talk about shopping. You'll be able to purchase almost all of these items from medical clinics located at ground cities and space stations. While basic Hemazol MedPens can be found all over the place, medical clinics will be the most common and reliable place to purchase everything we'll be discussing. First up, let's go over MedPens. MedPens are the simplest. They are the single-use consumable version of medicine in the game, pre-filled with a specific drug. They are also the fastest way to apply any drug to your character or others. First, you will need to purchase one from a medical facility, but once you've purchased it, go to your personal storage kiosk, drag the MedPens into your inventory, and then double-click them in your backpack to load them into a specific slot in your armor. Once equipped, anytime in game, just tap the 4 key to bring out a standard MedPen, then left-click to apply it to yourself, or right-click while aiming it at another player to treat them. Another big tip is if you want to use a specific type of MedPen for a desired effect like an opio pen, you need to essentially drag and drop that specific pen to your hand in your inventory screen, then exit the menu, and then left-click to apply it. For best practice, most of the time you'll want to keep just the standard Hemazol MedPens in your armor inventory slots for quick access to basic healing. And this stops bleeding, restores health, and can revive players. Next up, we're going to discuss the Lifeguard attachment. The Lifeguard attachment is for the Pyrorite multi-tool. It uses a refillable cylinder, giving it a much higher healing capacity than a single MedPen. And it doesn't take up your sidearm slot, which can be a huge benefit if you wish to carry a sidearm instead of a MedGun. The key limitation with this tool, however, is they can only administer Hemazol, which means it can only stop bleeding, heal, and revive as mentioned previously. Here's how you use the Lifeguard attachment. First, simply equip your multi-tool, hold the F key, then right-click to open the customization menu on your tool. From here, you'll see two markers. Select the top marker, then hover over the rectangular section and scroll your mouse wheel, and then left-click to equip the Lifeguard medical attachment. If it's swapped out properly, you'll see a visual change in your tool. Then repeat this using the second marker on the lower level of the device and equip a Lifeguard refill. From here, to use the tool, pull it out, then right-click to heal yourself. To apply healing, bleed stop, or revive to another player, simply left-click them just like you would with a gun. Now we're going to go over the last tool, the paramed MedGun. The MedGun is a professional choice. It's a reusable tool that takes MedGel ammo. The MedGun can also scan a patient's injury, but unlike the Lifeguard, its advanced mode allows it to dispense all the advanced drugs, like roxafen or demystifies. As a result, this is the only tool that can mitigate symptoms beyond bleeding and incapacitation, allowing you to treat severe injuries, concussions, and drug overdose. And before we proceed any further discussing this tool, I do want to cover some basics. A major factor in medical care is blood drug level, or BDL. Every drug you apply raises this level, and if it gets too high, the player will start to overdose. The MedGun helps you manage this. Note the BDL meter at the bottom of the gun's advanced UI, which shows you exactly the amount of blood drug level that will be inflicted upon usage. This will help you avoid overdoses. But here's how you use the MedGun. The MedGun takes up your sidearm slot, so you'll need to equip it there and draw it using the 3 key. The necessary paramed refills take up ammo slots on your armor as well. It can be swapped by tapping the R key. It practically behaves just like a pistol besides the custom UI. Once you have the MedGun out, you can do basic Hemazol healing by simply left-clicking players. You can also move your cursor over various parts of the player's anatomy to check for injuries, as well as get recommendations on what medication will mitigate the symptoms. To apply Hemazol medication to yourself, first press B and then left-click. If you want to apply another medication to minimize symptoms to yourself, press B, then hold F, and use the interaction cursor to toggle the basic to advanced slider by left-clicking. Then select Auto at the bottom of the screen, which will choose the right medication and dosage for the injuries that you have, and then left-click to apply it. Applying medication to another player works exactly the same way. Just skip pressing the B key and repeat the exact same steps. Now let's go over the core drugs and the direct effects. Effectively, all the medicine found in MedPens and the tools we just went over simply stabilize symptoms. To fully cure the issue, you need a proper medical bed. Before we proceed, let's look over the 6 essential drugs and their equivalent pens and what they actually do for your character when you take them. Hemazol pens are called MedPens. This is your core lifesaver. Administered by MedPen, MedGun, and Lifeguard, it restores health, stops bleeding, and recovers you from an incapacitated state. Opio pens contain roxafen, found in single-use pens or MedGuns. Roxafen is for mobility issues. It reduces pain symptoms and normalizes your movement ability, perfect if you're limping or struggling with movement. Adrenapens contain demystifies, found in single-use pens or MedGuns. Demystifies helps with physical impairment. It reduces concussion symptoms like blurred vision and normalizes your weapon handling and movement speed. Corticopens contain Sterigen, found in single-use MedPens or MedGuns. Sterigen targets vital functions, it reduces vision and hearing symptoms caused by damage, and normalizes your stamina. Detox pens contain Resurgera, crucial for avoiding overdose. This can be found in pens or MedGuns, and essentially it doubles the decay rate of the blood drug level. Decon pens contain caniodide, and it's only available in pen form currently. It's used specifically to reduce the symptoms from radiation exposure. Here's what you should do as a new player to make all of this way more manageable. First, you should always carry your armor's maximum amount of standard med pens containing himazole on you at all times. They are cheap, fast, and they save your life in more situations than not, and will at minimum get you back to the station or ship with a medbed to avoid death. These standard himazole med pens are going to be the fastest way to get players back up when downed, especially when facing threats, as well. I would also advise keeping a MedGun on you. That way, if you get more specific injuries such as limping, blurry vision, etc., you can find a safe place to pull out your MedGun, use its advanced mode to apply the needed drugs, and a final warning is to watch that blood drug level. If you're just spamming med pens, you will eventually overdose. Always be ready to use detox pens. Now let's discuss medical beds. While field medicine stabilizes you, only a medical bed can truly heal your injuries. These injuries are categorized into 3 tiers, and only the right bed can fix the right problem. Your injury tier determines the severity and required treatments. Think of it like this. Tier 3 injuries are the most minor injuries and are a very minor impairment and largely just inconvenient. Treat it when you can, but it will likely not be a major issue. These can be treated in all med beds within the game. Tier 2 injuries are moderate injuries that can apply a significant negative impact to your character's ability to move and perform actions, such as making you limp or impacting your ability to aim. These can be treated in a Tier 2 or Tier 1 bed. Tier 1 injuries, these are the most critical and problematic injuries to incur. These injuries will heavily impair your ability to function, and you really don't want to be in a combat situation with this. Once you have a Tier 1 injury, you will want to find a medical bed immediately, and these can only be treated by Tier 1 beds, which are primarily at major stations and ground locations, or on the RSI Apollo. As you may have gathered, medical beds are categorized by the highest tier of injury that they can fix. Crucially, all medbeds on ships require a consumable MedGel in order to function for both healing and respawning. They come filled initially, but will need to be restocked once consumed. This introduced a significant cost to using your ship's facilities. This MedGel resource is purchased in canisters containing 200 units of MedGel. The resource is consumed based on the action. Healing a Tier 3 injury costs about 5 units of MedGel. Healing a Tier 2 injury costs about 10 units. Healing a Tier 1 injury costs 20, while respawning after death typically costs 100 units of MedGel as of current. Tier 3 beds are the most common, found in small ship clinics like the Cutlass Red. They will hold 200 units of MedGel. Critically, if you set your regeneration imprint here, your respawn range is limited to a short distance. It's going to be 50 kilometers, making them unsuitable for deep space, or simply operating at an extended distance away from the ship. Tier 2 beds are much more capable. They typically hold 400 units of MedGel, and they offer a moderate respawn imprint distance of 8,000 kilometers, which is much more useful but still limited. Tier 1 beds are top tier facilities. These beds hold the most MedGel at 600 units, allowing sustained operations. But they do have the added benefit of allowing you to respawn back at the ship no matter what, so long as you remain in the same system. So in other words, if you own a medical ship, you have the ultimate mobile safety net, but it does have a supply requirement. First, you'll need to transport the MedGel into your ship. You can do this by putting it in your backpack or loading it onto a freight elevator. Once you have the MedGel on your ship, you must physically carry the MedGel canister to the medical bed you want to refill. Each medbed will have a MedGel refill port, usually marked clearly near the bed, or the control panel near the bed. To refill, simply interact with the port and the canister will automatically start loading the MedGel into the bed supply, similar to a key card. This will fully consume the canister. Any extra gel you insert will be wasted, and each canister of MedGel does cost 100,000 aUEC, so you don't want to be overfilling a medical bed, as you will be burning money. You can check the available amount of MedGel on the control panel for the bed in question. It's shown in the top right corner of the screen as shown here. And that wraps up our medical breakdown. By carrying the right field gear and understanding the limitations of medical beds, you'll drastically increase your chances of survival within the verse. If this guide helped you avoid unnecessary death or confusion, please like the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more Star Citizen tutorials and gameplay, and be sure to ring that bell so you never miss an update. Finally, definitely share this video to anyone else who needs to level up their medical gameplay, and as always, thanks for watching, and stay safe out there in the verse.